Let's go.
The time is 7 o'clock. I call to order the Board of Trustees reorganizational meeting this day, January 6, 2022 at 7 PM. Trustee Mears,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Music.
Yes.
At this time, I call for the election of officers. I request nominations for president for the fiscal year 2022.
At this time, I would like to nominate trustee Hartstrom for president.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a nomination by trustee Mears to elect trustee Hartshorn president for fiscal year 2022 with a second by trustee Music. Trustee Music,
Yes.
trustee Mears,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn.
Yes.
Oops.
You want to discuss that?
Okay. Next point of order is I request nomination for vice president for the fiscal year 2022.
I'd like to make a nomination of trustee Mears for vice president.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a nomination of trustee Mears as vice president for the fiscal year 2022. Motion by trustee Hartshorn and seconded by trustee Music. Trustee Music,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Mears.
Sure.
Actually, that next part can be voided. I don't know why there's a second one in. Oh, no, that's when actually fiscal officer Grill requests to close nominations for officers.
I'll make that motion.
Nomination to, sorry,
Go ahead.
to close the nominations for officers.
Seconded.
Okay, nomination or to order to close the nominations for officers was motioned by trustee Mears and seconded by trustee Hartshorn. Trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Mears,
Yes.
trustee Music.
Yes.
The second order of business is for approval of trustees and fiscal officer salaries as set forth in the Ohio Revised Code 504.24 and 507.29. Do I have a motion for the resolution 2101 of approval of the trustees' salaries?
So moved.
Second.
Approval of resolution 2101, approval for the trustees' salaries was moved by trustee Hartshorn and seconded by trustee Mears. Trustee Mears,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Music.
Yes.
The next one is resolution 2102, approval of the fiscal officer's salary, also set forth in the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion for approval?
I make that motion. Sorry.
Second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion to approve resolution 2102 for the fiscal officer salary from trustee Mears, seconded by trustee Music. Trustee Music,
Yes.
trustee Mears,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn.
Yes.
The next order of business is change of signatories. I request approval to remove trustee Wynn from LC&B signature cards for Perry Township checking accounts and lockbox effective December 31st, 2021 at 11:59 PM. And add Zachariah Music to LC&B signature cards for Perry Township checking accounts and lockbox effective January 1, 2022 at 12 AM. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion moved by trustee Hartshorn for changing of the signatories of the bank accounts and seconded by trustee Mears. Trustee Mears,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Music.
Yes.
At this time, I'll turn the remaining portion of the meeting over to the new president, trustee Hartshorn.
Thank you. The first order of business that I have is to set the meeting dates and times for 2022 to include the Perry Township Board of Trustee meetings and work sessions. In the last year, we've had a handful of work sessions. We didn't need them as much as we thought we did. Do we want to schedule those? Have those regularly scheduled to precede the Board of Trustee meeting, or do we want to have them as required? I personally think as required is sufficient. Because when there's something to talk about, there's usually a couple things to talk about and work through prior to the meeting. So I think we can do that as necessary and probably tee that up right before the Board of Trustees meeting, as we did previously. Any thoughts?
I like that idea because like you said, sometimes we don't need them, sometimes we do.
I think I spent more time canceling
Yes.
meetings than.
But I would rather have it there instead of not, just in case.
Right, we can always have it,
Yes.
and when we do have it, we'll try
Right.
to do it at that
Right.
point in time. You have any thoughts?
I agree.
So we don't want to leave it as it is right now, where we had on there just as needed in the wording,
Do the work sessions as needed?
As needed, yeah.
Right,
have them like we had them scheduled before it, but only as needed.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll keep the wording of the time and the
Okay,
second Tuesday of the month at 6 PM as needed.
okay.
And that way we won't have to post that it's regularly scheduled and canceled.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna keep it then for the second Tuesday of the month as previous.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'd like to make a motion to keep the Board of Trustee meetings the second Tuesday of the month at 7 PM and work sessions as required for the second Tuesday of the month at 6 PM.
I second.
Trustee Mears,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Music.
Yes.
Next item of business is to set the approved method of notification for meetings to include regular meetings, special meetings, work sessions, and emergency meetings. We currently post to the Brookville Star. We post to the Township website and the Township Facebook page
And the notification board.
and the notification board out front. Thank you.
Comes out once a month.
Right, so I didn't have the details. I just
Yeah.
know that it's emerging.
I mean, I don't have an issue, but with it only coming out once a month.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you have any thoughts, trustee Music?
I don't think there's any other avenues that we currently
You really
use.
don't. Yeah, I think we leverage everything that we possibly can at this point. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to continue the method of notifications for meetings to include regular meetings, special meetings, work sessions, and emergency meetings with the Brookville Star, the notification board posted outside the administration building, the Township website, and Township Facebook page.
I second that.
Trustee Music,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Mears.
Yes.
Okay. Next item of business is to set approved charges for meeting notifications to email, text, or call, and the amount. We eliminated this last year
Okay,
because we had so many different ways that we were putting the word out there, and it became difficult
okay,
to contact everyone. So I would make the recommendation that we continue to not do that specifically and rely on the 4 methods that we previously approved for posting meetings.
I agree.
I agree.
Don't need a motion for that. We're just gonna skip that. The next item of business is appointing of committee representatives and alternates. The Western Regional Council of Governments, WRCG representative. I believe that's been you.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I don't mind continuing to do
Okay.
that. And that's, Zach, for your information, that's Rumpke.
okay,
And we only get together so every so often. So, yeah.
okay. Well, I'd like to make a motion to nominate trustee Mears as the Western Regional Council of Governments representative for Perry Township.
I'll second that.
trustee Music,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Mears.
Yes.
And for an alternate representative, I'd like to nominate trustee Music as the alternate representative to the Western Regional Council of Governments.
I second that.
Trustee Mears,
Yes.
Trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Music.
Yes.
The next item of business is the fire prevention officer approval. Request the approval for fire chief for the city of Brookville and fire chief for New Lebanon as the fire prevention officers of Perry Township Fire EMS Protection Areas in Perry Township as set forth in ORC 505.38B of the Ohio Revised Code. Do we have any?
I make that motion
Okay.
that we keep that the same.
I'll second that.
Trustee Music,
Yes.
trustee Mears,
Yes.
trustee Hartshorn.
Yes. The last item for business is says mask mandate. I really don't think it's a mask mandate. It's a policy to require masks for the administration building in Perry Township. We've had twice now that we've had COVID go through the administration building. And a number of employees have been sick, and we've had to close the offices and do other things. At this time, I've worked with the prosecutor's office to write up a draft resolution to require masks for entry into the administration building, because it is such a confined space, and it is something that until now, we hadn't been really burned by it, and we have been now. So I'd like to ask Fiscal Officer Grill to read the draft resolution at this time.
Resolution number 2203, resolution approving Perry Township Building Mask Policy. The Board of Trustees of Perry Township, Montgomery County, Ohio, met in reorganizational session on the 6th day of January 2022 at the office Perry Township with the following members present: trustee Hartshorn, trustee Mears, and trustee Music. Whereas Perry Township has a compelling interest to protect the health, welfare, and safety of residents and township employees. And whereas on March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization declared the emergency of the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 that causes the disease COVID-19, a worldwide pandemic. And whereas the Center of Disease Control and Prevention and other public health organizations monitor all variants of the virus that cause COVID-19 in the United States and globally. And whereas the spread of COVID-19, particularly the mutations and variants of the virus throughout Ohio and the Perry Township, continues to pose a severe threat to the public health, safety, and welfare to the residents, employees of Perry Township. And whereas wearing a mask is an effective way to reduce the spread of earlier forms of the virus, the Delta variant and other known variants. And whereas the CDC recommends that in order to protect themselves and others from COVID-19 and its variants, people who are not fully vaccinated should wear a mask indoors in public at all levels of community transmission, and specifically recommends mask wearing indoors in public places designated as substantial or high community transmission, regardless of vaccination status. And now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Perry Township that all who enter Perry Township Administrative Building are required to wear face coverings or face shields over their nose and mouth while inside. Be it further resolved, the face covering requirement of this resolution does not apply to the following persons: residents speaking at the podium during a meeting, a person with a disability who cannot wear a face covering or cannot safely wear a face covering for reasons related to the disability, a person while eating or drinking inside a Perry Township building. Be it further resolved that a violation of any provision of this resolution is subject to denied entry and possible removal from the premises. And be it further resolved, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption by the Board of Perry Township and shall remain in effect until April 1st, 2022.
So at this time, I'd like to ask for thoughts and discussion by the other trustees.
On April 1st, it sunsets, correct? That's,
Yes,
and if at that point, there still seems to be a huge risk pool.
then we would discuss it again and we would do a new resolution or amend the existing resolution. Both options are available.
And we're going till April because of hopefully
Gives us a-
warmer weather.
Right.
Okay.
The other thing, and we can add this word, is that for the initial resolution to remain in effect no longer than April 1st. Because if numbers start going down and it's less of an issue, I don't want people to wear masks just to wear masks. That's not the point to this. The point to this is right now, it is a very troubling time. And I think we should all make sure that both the employees of the township as well as residents are protected when doing business in this building.
Yes.
So are there any other thoughts?
What are we gonna do if someone says no? Or they come in and they.
So
they're an eat and drink.
this is something that cities, counties, everybody's doing right now because of the impact to their ability to serve the communities that they serve. So the current stance is that entry will not be granted. I mean, it's, and there again, this is not out of malice. This is out of trying to ensure that this is a safe space to conduct the business of the township. So, and that's also why it states could be removed from the premises because it's not, we're not keeping people out. We're not doing that kind of thing. We're saying that if you're coming in,
Please do.
wear a mask.
Yes.
And if there is any belligerence, unruliness, unlawfulness that happens from that point on, then removal from the premises would take place. That's the only, that was the caveat to that. And it was a legal caveat. That was not the spirit of the resolution.
Right. I think that's going to end up putting us in a rock and a hard spot. Because if they're, and I would get with a new and Nathaniel and even
Yeah, a new,
Miss Westwood down at the
Yeah.
prosecutor's office. You know, my initial thought is if they're not leaving because they don't have a mask, how far do you push the issue of trespassing?
if they're not unruly, I mean, they can sit in their car as long as they want to sit, it's a public space.
Right.
Right? I think there's a tipping point there where it goes from being in a public space to creating a disturbance.
Right.
And that's a lawful definition. So I'll be very straightforward. My initial draft didn't look anything like this. I got a lot of the legal speak from Anu. And because we wanted to make sure that this was lawful. We're not trying to impose a will. We're not trying to say you shall not pass, right?
Right.
This is basically stating that there's a need to protect this space for the residents and the employees of the township. And we're trying to do that. And we are limited by how far we can go with that.
Mhm.
But within this building, we do have the ability to require a mask. And that's all we're trying to do.
What I was saying, it puts us, and I'm talking to law enforcement, into a pickle because it's been my experience. The prosecutor's office on the civil side says yes. The criminal side is like, nah. And then if you get hit with a lawsuit, neither one of them are like, nah, it's up to a completely different set of attorneys.
And I'll tell you that, you know, a case could be made that people in the entryway aren't in the building. 95% of the people that come to this building stay in the entrance area.
Yeah, they don't come in.
So, you know, and we can clarify that text that, you know, the entrance area is not included in this resolution. It's considered part of the outside. We already have a plexiglass there or plexiglass plate there, so we're good.
Right.
And there again, I think it's only, the only purpose is for the immediate business in the township.
No, absolutely.
Right.
And I was just pointing some things out that,
No, and I appreciate that because, you know, like I said, this is draft.
right,
I'd like to get the wording as clear as possible. And then the trustees can vote on it as amended. And then we can move on to, you know, if the trustees feel that this is something that they think is needed to be done. So,
I don't see any problem with the wording.
My whole problem with any mandate, requirement, policy, whatever, was that we needed to at least, we can't just say we're gonna have one,
No,
not vote on it.
so there's a difference to a rapid response
Sure. And I understood.
and a policy.
Yeah.
Initially, we had a rapid response
Mhm.
because we had an issue. And then this was the nearest meeting to
Correct.
loop that in. So that was the goal all along, is that it wasn't going to be open-ended. It just said, the initial thing said until further notice. So that we could do it as quickly as we could and then get on to the, because I wanted to have it time kept too. I didn't want it to go on in perpetuity. That's useless. Right? So all of that said, are we good with the as amended to implement this as a policy?
yeah, and I agree with April 1 with it, being spring and hopefully by then, things will start to change.
Right.
So,
How about you?
I'm okay with the April 1st
Okay,
sunset.
so at this time, I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution 2203 as amended, as discussed. And we can add the additional wording under the bulleted section. Okay, let's,
second,
Trustee Mears,
yes.
trustee Hartshorn,
yes.
trustee Music.
Yes.
All right. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Trustee Mears,
yes.
trustee Hartshorn,
Yes.
trustee Music.
Yes.